I could eat these instead of popcorn sometimes. Whoa.
Wow.
That actually feels like a big thing to say.
That is a huge thing to say.
What's up guys, it's Kat and Dev from Two Market Girls. Welcome back to another vegan recipe, and not just one recipe. Today, Kat made 3 different recipes, and she made 3 for this specific thing because our patrons requested it.
Yeah, so I had the idea of doing 3 recipes that you can make with insert pantry staple here. And then we put the question out on our Patreon to see which kind of pantry staple they want us to feature. I was really hoping for chickpeas. We got oats though, so we're doing right, and a lot of people on Patreon asked for this, so I'm gonna do it. It almost knocked me out, but I did it.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't realize.
I did not think that you would go out by oats.
I didn't think so
thought
either.
It was gonna be bacon.
I really didn't realize making something with oats that wasn't for breakfast was gonna be that difficult, and wasn't just like a dessert, because you can easily make a dessert with oats. I didn't think it was gonna be that difficult, but it really, I tested 2 recipes that failed. These 3 made it, so in total I tested 5 recipes that ended up working, and I was happy with. Well, 2 of them didn't. They were horrible and not good.
See, Catherine is working so hard right now, and honestly, it paid off, because these are actually very delicious, Catherine. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
And you impress me all the time, obviously.
Thank you.
But these crackers?
Yeah, guys, these crackers that we made are the best. They're so good.
Okay, so why don't you tell us what 3 recipes you made up?
So I did a cheesy oat cracker. We did a savory Italian granola, or crumble topping for salads or avocado toast or something like that. And then we did a chickpea oat patty that can either be used for a burger or just a patty for dipping, like you would have a salmon cake or a fish cake or something like that.
I like how you still snuck the chickpeas in.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into these recipes, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future vegan recipes every Sunday and whatever Wednesdays every other Wednesday. And without further ado, here are the oats.
To make your oat cheddar crackers, you're gonna start by combining your oats and your non-dairy milk in a small bowl, and just let that sit to soften the oats. To a food processor, you're gonna combine some flour, baking powder, and salt, and pulse that just a few times to blend that all together. Then we're going to add in our vegan cheese and butter and miso paste, and we're just going to pulse until a coarse meal forms. Then we're going to add in our flax egg and softened oats and pulse until a dough forms. If you need to, just scrape the sides with a flexible spatula and repulse again. Once that has been thoroughly combined and it looks like a dough is starting to form, you're going to remove that from the food processor and place that onto a piece of clear wrap, and then just kind of knead that into a soft ball just a couple times until it's all together. And then you're gonna form it into a disc and wrap it up in your clear wrap and place it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes to an hour, or until it's nice and firm. When you're ready to remove the dough from the fridge, you're going to first preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, working with half the dough at a time, on a floured work surface, you're going to dust the dough and rolling pin with more flour and roll out the dough to no more than 1/8 of an inch thick. You want it to get it pretty thin so that the crackers get nice and crunchy. As you're rolling, if you're noticing that your dough is sticking a little bit to either the bottom or the rolling pin, just flour that a little bit more as you go. Then, either using a cookie cutter or you can just use a sharp knife, you're going to cut your dough into your desired shapes. I'm using a round cookie cutter because I want round crackers, but you can just use a sharp knife and cut it into squares or rectangles. Brush off any excess flour on the dough and transfer those rounds or squares to a lined baking sheet. They're not really going to expand, so you can put them pretty close together, but make sure to leave maybe a 1/2 centimeter of space in between each of them. You're going to refrigerate those for just a couple minutes while you melt a little bit of butter. We're going to lightly brush all of our crackers with that melted butter, sprinkle with a little bit of salt, and poke them with a fork in the center so that no air bubbles really form while they're baking. Then you're going to bake for 10 to 12 minutes. You're going to flip them and bake them again for another 10 to 12 minutes until they're nice and a dark golden brown. You want to make sure they're that dark golden brown so that when they dry and when they cool off, they get that classic crispy cracker crunch. The time on this will really depend on your oven and how hot it gets. So you're gonna wanna watch them carefully, especially on the second bake, to make sure they don't burn. And don't be afraid to add a couple minutes of time on there because you really wanna dry these crackers out so that they have a nice crunch. Repeat all that with the second dough when you're ready to place them in the oven. Then once they're baked, you're gonna transfer all your crackers to a cooling rack and let them cool completely before serving or packing them in a bag for later. To make your savory granola, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and then add all of your ingredients to a bowl and mix to combine. So you're going to combine some whole oats, puffed quinoa, sunflower seeds, Italian seasoning, nutritional yeast, smoked paprika, garlic powder, a little bit of olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and some maple syrup, and just toss that until it's nice and combined and everything is evenly coated and well distributed. You're going to place that mixture on a lined baking sheet in a very thin layer, so use a big baking sheet if you need to, not like I'm showing you in this video, and bake it in your oven for about 8 to 10 minutes or until you see it getting nice and golden brown. Allow that to cool before you store it in a jar or serve it up on top of some avocado toast or on top of a salad, which I've been doing lately. To make your chickpea oat patties, you're going to first preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then to a food processor, you're going to add in your oats and process until a nice flour-like consistency forms. Then you're going to add in your chickpeas, onion, carrot, and seasonings and pulse until crumbled. Add in some aquafaba and olive oil and process until combined and the mixture forms a dough ball. Now you're going to form equal-sized patties with your hands that are about 1 to 2 inches wide. If you want to make them bigger for like a burger or something, you can do that. My batch got about 9 patties out of this on the smaller side. You're going to coat each patty in some panko breadcrumbs, pressing the breadcrumbs into the patty if needed. Then you're going to place those on a lined baking sheet and bake in your oven for about 20 minutes or until golden, making sure to flip halfway. Once they've been removed from the oven, you're going to want to make sure to put them on a cooling rack so that they don't get soggy on the bottom. We're serving these with just a little drizzle of buffalo sauce and a ranch dipping sauce, but you can serve them however you want. If you're looking to reheat these later, I would really recommend reheating these in an air fryer if you have it.
Okay, what do we try first?
What do you want to try first?
I don't know, granola for some reason.
Okay, now do we just pinch the granola and eat?
That is what I am doing.
Okay, I'll do the same thing.
Just gonna take a little pinch of granola.
Yeah. I feel
The Italian seasonings really give me like garlic bread vibes.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going for, like a garlic bready type topping that you could add to, like I said, a salad or avocado toast or like a mac and cheese or a pasta. So it's like kind of take places of parm, but it's got like a nice crunch too.
It was really good.
Thank you. And you didn't use puffed quinoa, right?
No, I didn't have puffed quinoa, so I just went without. And you know what? I think it's fine.
Sweet.
All around solid savory granola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to do the crackers next because honestly, they're the best things ever.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
They really remind me of like Cheez-It crackers.
Really? All right, we did it, guys.
Because you got the butter. I'm getting all choked up. You've got the buttery flavor and the cheesy flavor. It just feels like a healthier version, maybe. That's just in my head though, right?
Probably. So I was gonna do it with just the cheese, but I figured it wouldn't be cheesy enough, so I added miso to get more of that like kind of cheesy undertone flavor, which like I learned from that recipe we did in Mississippi Vegan's cookbook, those cheese straw things. And like I add miso to anything I'm trying to make cheesy now because it's so good. And then I also, when I was originally testing them, I did it without the butter on top, which like it was good, but when you add the butter to it, it gives it such a buttery flavor. When you just put it on top, it's so good.
I don't know if I rolled mine thin enough, but you know what? They still taste fine. I'm not perfect, and I'm okay with that.
And they're still delicious, right? So it doesn't matter. All right, patty time.
Patty time. Okay, I'm adding some I got a little bit of ranch here on my plate.
I put a little bit of Frank's buffalo on this, but I don't have any ranch, so I'm just eating it with the Frank's.
Well, I've got my whole, I made a mini one and I coated it in Frank's and then I pan fried it a little bit, and it's a good time. As you can see, I've already eaten
it looks like a little like nugget, a little chicken nugget.
Yeah. And then I got my big one, dipping in the ranch. Living my life.
They've got a very like chickpea taste. If you don't like chickpeas, you won't really like them. But like, I don't mind the texture. Unlike, I don't think I'd use these for burgers. I'm just not a bean patty type of person. But I really like these for like a snack or like a main, like instead of chicken nuggets, doing these in smaller form with buffalo on them because they're so good with buffalo on them.
Mm-hmm. And you were saying too, like almost like a falafel too. It could go in a wrap.
Yeah, I would put this in a wrap. That was my mom's idea.
I would also like make small patties. I would put it on a salad, in a Buddha bowl maybe.
Yeah, I feel like you could also make these into like balls and do like little chickpea balls. There's a lot of options you could do with this.
Yeah, you've made like a good base here, and then you can elaborate on it a lot, like with the sauces that you put on top and what you eat them with, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. In the comments, maybe we should get everyone else to share their favorite oat recipes that are not breakfast and are not oatmeal and are not dessert.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you have a really good dessert recipe, also share the idea. But like, an oat crumble, that kind of stuff is pretty like standard for using with oats. Like when I was looking up oat recipes for inspiration, like they were all either oatmeal or they were like oat and berry crumbles. So something that's like maybe a little out there that people might not have thought of.
Yeah, let's all share in the comments. In the description box, you can find a link to all 3 of these recipes. We encourage you to go try them and let us know what you think. There's also a link to our podcast. It's called Camera Eats First, and it comes out every Monday, everywhere that you get podcasts. We talk about things like veganism, how we make our recipes, how we run our blog, keep you up to date on trending news topics in the vegan world. Go give it a listen. There's also a link to our Patreon account. Our patrons inspired these recipes, and in exchange for them supporting us, we give them some bonus content, like they get mukbangs or they get this recipe ahead of time. And we are always asking for their feedback and their input on our recipes. If you're able to support us, we really appreciate it. But if not, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and send it to somebody who might have a lot of oats that they don't know what to do with.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's it. Catherine worked really hard, so I think we should stop. She deserves a break now.
I'm so tired. This week was a tired one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, but I learned that I really need to write down the shots I need to get when doing video. I'm pretty sure 2 of these recipes you don't see go in the oven or put on a lined baking sheet. We're doing the same thing. We're just like moving our hands.
Are we frozen or are we just frozen in our heads?
That one. That's the one.